Okay, so here we are in the garage with the T28 HTC. I thought it was just worth having a quick look to see how I've got this tank set up. Now you can see I've got a gun rammer, a turbo and hardening. Pretty standard for this sort of assault sort of tank. Obviously you're trying to increase its firepower with the rammer and increase its survivability with the hardening, and of course mobility is always an issue with these sorts of things. You can see the loadout I've got: 28 of the standard, 28 of APCR and just a few HEs just in case. You can see the basic stats of the tank. Not a very accurate gun. 0.37 is pretty crap, but this is a close up and personal sort of tank. You fight very close up. It is an assault TD. You have to use it up against the heavies, or at least you should. If you use it as a sniper, you're not going to hit very much. Anyway, so that's my tank. We'll jump into the battle. Right, so here we are in the HTC and ready to go. Now, the T28 HTC is a reward tank that you get for completing second lot of missions in the first campaign, and I find it to be a very effective vehicle at tier 7. It's one of those vehicles that is really good at tier. It's on the top in a game, not so good when it comes up against tier 8s. The reason for that is it has about 200mm of frontal armour, and that's on the lower plate, the superstructure, all round basically. Well, all round the front, except for the two little turrets on the side. And we can see those. There's one on either side, and they really do make 4 weak points on this thing. Now, but this tank has really good gun traverse. You can see on the little diagram to the left, you can see we've got significant gun traverse, and what that means is with this thing you can hide the little turrets very effectively on a corner. So we pull back this way, we point the gun off on a fairly acute angle. What that means is the turret on the right of our vehicle is protected by the terrain, and the turret on the left of our vehicle is protected by the vehicle itself. So there's no way they can shoot us in our weak spots, and that's certainly a tactic that you can use with this thing a lot. Makes it a very powerful vehicle in these sort of heavy tank shootout sort of scenarios. We can see the gun isn't necessarily behaving itself though. Oh, gee, I would have thought that one went in. Now, the gun, as I say, its accuracy is not very good. It's about 0.37, I think, as we saw in the garage. If we look at the pen, the standard pen's 181, 320 damage, and 224. So an extra 40 pen with the APCR, and also a significantly faster round. So that does make the gun more accurate, but what it does do is you do miss less shots because the shell travels quicker over the distance. So the APCR at 1000 isn't amazing, but that extra couple of 100 meters per second does actually make a significant difference. That's another reason why firing a lot of APCR is probably the way to go for this tank, although because again this is a reward tank, not a premium tank, you will not make money. It will cost you a lot of money to shoot this APCR. The same as an ordinary tank basically. It does help of course if you hit the target, and I think one thing we'll see at the end of this game is that it's all the misses that really made it costly. Our team is doing relatively okay at the moment, it's fairly even. I'm not pushing across at this stage because there is an enemy heavy over on the right, but if our guys push round there and suppress him, I think it will be time for me to push forward and try and dislodge these guys from this corner. I do have a lot of success in this tank playing like in games like this where it's Tier 7 and Tier 6. The Tier 6s really have very little chance of pinning this thing from the front. Like all of these tanks, it's very easily pinned from the side or the rear, but if you can only give them your front, they will really struggle. Okay, it must be time to go. Our guys have pushed across. I want to try and get across this gap without getting shot. A bit worried about the VK up there on the hill, but he's being pushed back by our guys, so I can get across here and I don't take a hit. And now I've got these two Tier 6 Heavies. They are really going to struggle with this thing. I can't let them get my weak point, but so long as I can protect that from them, they are really going to struggle. Now, here I do need to target the enemy TD. That's a very powerful tank. It's one of the new Italian TDs. Take him out. We managed to not take a penetrative hit from the T20, and our teammates take the T20. And we take out the KV-1S, who was poking out so many times and we were missing. We get him in the end. Okay, game is rapidly tying up. The enemy, I think, on the other flank are doing a bit better, but I think that's all about to come unstuck as well. And oh, there's still two of them over there. I think this is changing very, very rapidly, and now we take this guy out if we can. So put one into him, we must well ram him. He bounced one off us, fortunately. He's looking at our weak spot, but he's gone. And now there's only the one heavy and the two arties left, so let's go and see what we can do to them. Now, one of the drawbacks of this tank, although it has great traverse, it has terrible gun elevation and terrible gun depression. Now we'll shoot one into this guy. This guy, I think, was quite a reasonable player, and the fact that he didn't get distracted by me coming up behind him also makes me think he was a good player. You might think, well, why is that? Well, if you've got someone who comes up behind you, you are better off. If you're going to die, you might as well keep firing at the tank in front of you, rather than getting distracted and trying to get shots off at the tank that's behind you. You're much less likely to get damage or do damage if you do turn around. Anyway, let's see if we can find this S51. We've done 2,785 damage. We've blocked 1,205. We've done a bit of spotting assistance, tracking assist, one or the other, and we've even got some ramming damage in there, which is pretty good. So all in all, this has been a very effective game. That wasn't so effective. I should have swapped back to the AP. It might have gone through there. But that game was an even one, so that was not a bad outcome for this thing.